All right, we're going to get ready. John's going to join us in just a minute. We're going to go live with all the other cool things. I'm very, very excited about today's show. We're going to have Manis. We're going to talk about all kinds of other stuff. It's super great. I'm going to turn this down. Trying out some music today, a little preview of what's happening. Manis is an amazing AI tool. I don't even have access to it yet. So John's going to tell us all about it. I'm really excited to hear what he's going to say today. Join us live, listen in, follow what's going on. It's a great show. It's a great day. And we're going to have some fantastic, unbelievably awesome things going on today. So I really want you to join, and I want you to join the Live X space so you can talk to us and share your thoughts, ask your questions, and find out what's going on. So we'll get started here in just a minute, and we'll be right back. ITT, Innovators Think Tank. They do it almost every week, not every week. They do it most weeks. And I gave a talk on the hidden trap of assumptions, which you can find on my YouTube channel, or you can go back and listen to the recording. I was the first guest. So yeah, super exciting. Lots of great stuff there.
It was really amazing, and it was interesting because it kind of I was working this weekend on an app, and I went down in terms of efficiency of time and where to put your focus, and did a lot of research on first principles and signal and noise and all of that, and it seemed to go in line with the assumptions. And speaking of that, I got my newsletter together finally, Andy. Can you believe that? It's taken
I
me
know I saw
forever.
the post. That's awesome. I love it. I'm excited to see what you're going to produce, because if it's anything like the rest of these shows, it'll be great.
Well, I'm going to tease a little bit. So Andy and I and two other people, and we'll talk about this as time moves along. I had a wonderful meeting with the person. Networking is where it's at on X, and there's a lot that can be done offline when you meet the right people and you begin to build relationships and trust them. There's some very exciting things. And so part of my newsletter is networking, and going to get into that, but I need to talk to the people that I'm involved with a little bit before I share that. But I just want to let everybody know that this space really, there's a lot more depth to it than meets the eye. Could you say that, Andy? Is that correct?
Well, I think communication and collaboration is the new, well, like it's new. It's always been critical to success in any business venture, is relationships, honesty, trust, caring, all that stuff. And the more that you can have those things happen, then the better chance you get. I mean, I posted today that you can be a speaker guy or reply guy. You'll get more impressions being in it, being a reply guy, but you'll get more authentic connections with people when you're a speaker guy. So I also posted that I knew nothing about AI last year, and now here John and I, people introduce us as the AI guys, which I think is pretty amazing. So, by the way, this is episode 91. This is number 91 of these weekly, daily shows we've done. So, for those of you who are listening in, or for who've joined us today or listening on the recording, 91 episodes. So I'm looking forward to, let's talk about the news. Let's get into it. Let's just get going, because there's so much to talk about today. And I've got to go right at 1 o'clock.
All right, that's awesome. So the headlines today, we have quite a few. NVIDIA CEO defends AI dominance amid growing competition. NVIDIA CEO Jensen spoke at the company's annual software developer conference, defending NVIDIA's leadership in the AI chip market. With a market value nearing $3 trillion, NVIDIA is facing increased competition and pressure to manage the rising costs of AI development, a critical issue for AI business services. I don't know if you checked it out, Andy, but I was watching Ted Cruz interviewing Elon Musk. And, Elon Musk is somebody that I think you can count on to give pertinent information. And he was really saying that the future of whoever dominates this world with AI, it all depends on the chips. And a lot of those chips are made in a certain place that could be vulnerable. But I think it's very important that we really support NVIDIA doing all that it can to really supply the world with chips, because it seems to be the best source right now, and it's here locally. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, okay, let me give you my personal example. I tried to run a local LLM on my Mac Mini with 16 gigs of RAM. I have a MacBook Pro with 8 gigs of RAM, and I could run the smallest models, uh, like a 4 billion parameter model, a 7 billion parameter model on those devices. But I ran into limitations almost immediately. It was slow. It didn't provide the instructions. It would get stuck in a loop. And all of those things can be solved by putting in more RAM or more video RAM. And so the video cards, so when I went and checked it and said, hey, how do I make this better? They basically, all the LLMs, all of the advisors, all of it said, you need different equipment. So the bottom line is, AI is power hungry, RAM hungry, and operates best on video RAM or VRAM, not specifically RAM that's identified for system RAM or CPU caching activities. It's video RAM, VRAM that it operates on most effectively. So you need a machine that has bigger VRAM on it. There's lots of ways to do that, but one of the most effective ways is just buying those big chips from NVIDIA or from TSMC, right? So it's just obvious that's the fastest, best way to do it. And so, yeah, Jensen's right, Elon's right. You need a good quality company that produces good quality products so we can keep utilizing these things, because it's kind of like computers. When they first started, it was kind of a slow adoption, and then everybody wanted them. And then it was just a war to go faster, 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 faster. And then now that's where we are, right? We need more chips. We need faster chips because we want more power. We want more AI. We want to use it in more ways. And that's the demand is going to grow until it saturates. And seriously, John, when do you think it's going to saturate? Because the more you have, the more you can figure out ways to use it, the more you figure out ways to do it, the more things you can figure out to do. So I think it's a never ending cycle, at least for the next 5 to 10 years. I think just more is the answer to AI. More.
Yeah, I mean, so the NVIDIA chips can run through Mac as well as PCs. I guess I mean, I have some clients that I could probably start to uh, basically, I believe that every business needs to start building their own agent for specific reasons. I mean, one nice thing about the my AI tutor is that I'm able to put a prompt in and get multiple LLMs to put their output out, and it's just amazing that like some of them um they constantly harp on certain things that are useless, and it's really I think it's really important to have that ability to quickly without opening one LL and the other to see what the output is, because if you're working for a company and you want to create an agent locally, you need to make decisions quickly, and to have a tool like that I think is really important. I see
Yeah.
Harsh here, and he's
Yeah.
making his own.
I was just going to say, Harsh recommended a specific model, but my hardware doesn't support that. I really wanted to use it, so now I'm figuring out how can I move, sell, participate, trade some stuff around so I can get some better hardware to run these bigger, more important machines. Because again, back to if you've listened to all the 91 shows, one of the things that I'm very interested in is a private, secure LLM system that I can plug into some of my companies and into some of my clients' companies. And that's why I'm doing these tests. And Harsh's recommendation would be a great addition to that. Problem is, machines I have don't run it yet, so we'll have to get better equipment so that I can run those machines, so I can do the things we need to do.
Absolutely, and that's I would be willing to take a trip up to, to Sacramento just to see that thing when you get it going. And there, I heard a lot of like Juan Carlos also mentioned that he was running something locally. It took like 45 minutes to get an answer. It seems that a lot of people are experimenting with these and having the same problems. Everyone, please post follow myself and Andy, as well as post this space so we can get as many people here as possible. And if you know people where this is their jam, this is something that they're interested in, please, you can take the link up there and email it to them or post it to them, send it however. But it's always helpful to get as many. The space is only as good as the people that show up and contribute to it. Shall we continue, or do you want to talk a little bit more about what's what did you find really fascinating when you started to put it on your own computer? And then we'll go to the next story. I'm just curious, Andy.
Yeah, two things that there. First of all, there are two very important parameters that you can set. Well, the first thing is that you need pretty good equipment to run the stuff. It's not excessive. $1,000 computer will run these great models, right? I have a $200 computer I was trying to run it on. Okay, fine. But here are the two things that are configurable on a local thing. The first one is called temperature. Temperature is the LLM model's ability to reason. Does it reason a little? Does it reason a lot? Does it spend a lot of time figuring out what it wants and then provides an answer? Or if it just goes kind of, here's my first kind of like my initial thought. Here's my initial thought, initial thought, initial thought. And that was really interesting to find that I could change that even in the little models in a 16 gigabyte RAM machine that I have. That ability to change that significantly changed the quality of the answers. And then the second thing is the token context window. If I could choose, if I got hit by the lottery, right? Not hit by a bus, but if I won the lottery and I could just have whatever I wanted, one of the things I would build a machine that was capable of generating a full entire book with a context window that was large enough to take all my inputs and generate a 300 or 400 page output that was coherent, cohesive, and worked all together, that produced enough information with the right enough model. All I need is backplane of CPUs and about about a terabyte of RAM. No problem. No big deal. It's just a design consideration. It's just a configuration you can build and say, this is what you need to do that. But if you had one of those, what could stop, what would actually stop you from editing and creating a new book, every 300-page book, every single week at a minimum, right? You could do it faster, but you literally could create, produce, edit, curate, a couple hundred pages. You can do a white paper right now in the context windows we have. You can do a white paper, an ebook, 30, 40-page book, no big deal, right? You want to make it 10 times that, you have to make it about 25 times the size of your capacity of your machine. But those are the two things that I found were fascinating. You can set the temperature of it's a configuration inside the LLM models. You can set the temperature and you can set the context window of the total number of tokens. And then just the machine capacity is your only limitation. I think it's amazing, absolutely amazing. It's like me Christmas morning, man. I get to click on it. I got up early, I worked through a bunch of stuff, and then after I was all done with that, I just spent till I got to go to bed. Then I got up this morning and on it again. So it's awesome. It's very, very cool. I'm really excited about the capability of having a local, secure LLM with API keys that can go out to the internet or go to your systems or connect to your bank or connect to your, payroll or invoicing or inventory systems, and use the power of the LLM and natural language processing to do all the stuff we're doing now, but get it in a natural language output. It's the new world. It's the surfboard. And if you're not on it, you're going to get hit by the tidal wave. So the tidal wave of AI is coming. You can't stop it. And you better figure out how to surf on that, because if you get a big boat, it'll get smashed. If you're too rigid, you're going to get destroyed. If you're just, flexible enough, but too large, then you won't be able to sustain it. The only way to do it is one by one, working through these models themselves, working with them. And like John was saying, with the AI tutor, some of these other tools where you can put in one prompt and get multiple outputs, pick the ones you want the best based on your criteria that you didn't tell it up front. So yeah, temperature and context modeling, context windows, totally understand them now. And cool, just so cool.
Well, it's interesting. So a terabyte of RAM, it's not cheap. It's around. It's quite significantly more than the NVIDIA supercomputer. They say about to set it up
But what,
between $8,000 and $14,000.
yeah, well, whatever, what they do is that's you just start running the NVIDIA graphics chips. You just do VRAM in series. You just basically set up a bunch of a backplane with a bunch of slots, PCI slots. You just put them in, plug, 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 plug. You just build a different type of architecture, which already exists. You just start plugging in the video chips. It's not that hard. It just costs. I mean, that's why Elon could do it in 19 days. The architecture is not the problem, right? He could build. Sorry, so you have a building. You have to set up CPU power, network between the systems, bus power, right, on the backplane. You've got to set up all the chips. The chips have to function in series or not parallel, because you don't want them to go one at one, right? You want them to go in series so they can all go at the same time, or you can control them in multiple ways. And power and cooling, that's it. And then software on top of that can manage and control that. But building object-oriented software that can iterate itself and instantiate itself, we've been doing that for 25 years. That's easy, right? That's what Google does. I mean, that's not an overarching engineering challenge. The engineering challenge for doing it is, where do you put the building? Do you have enough money to get all the parts? Can you start assembling all of the things necessary to do that in the right sequence and order? That's what takes all the planning. I mean, Jensen was saying in the latest podcast I watched, he said Elon did it in 19 days. It would have taken us 4 years. But he said 3 years of planning, 3 years of which building, where is it located, what kind of power, what kind of um, filtered power we have going in, right? Power is one of the biggest problems. You want to know how Elon fixed it? He put giant Tesla wall batteries in front of everything. All the power comes in, it's managed by his massive system for doing power. Then the power is filtered and put out at the exact amount of information, and the exact amount of power is needed to run all of the devices because of the fluctuation in the need. So most power systems are always on. They just, there's a dam and it's got an electrical generator and it just sends the power to you. And then you just siphon off what you need and you use, and they've got a meter. And so, however, how much you're using, you just pull that in and use it. Well, you can't do that with large compute systems because you have to have it's like you've got to have a filter for the power so that it comes at the right uh, ohms and wattage. You got to have the right amount of power and the right throughput of power in order to function effectively. And because computer systems are very sensitive to more power or less power. More power, there's triggers that you set off and fuses blow. But if you decrease the power, what happens is you end up with brownouts, where all of a sudden your data becomes corrupt, your systems don't function right. Some of your cache stuff, and the only way to fix everything is to get the right kind of quality of power and then reboot everything and reset it.
It yeah, I mean, one of the things that I have been exploring in terms of making myself as much as putting my energies towards the greatest outcome with the least effort, basically. And it seems like Elon's mastered that in a huge way. And I think that, what you're talking about, him being able to do that in such a short period is, through challenging assumptions, through what you were talking about, and then breaking things down to the basics and determining, what is the most important hierarchy to address a problem. And I think that, one thing he talked about the with Ted Cruz was the fact that maybe in the future, and he's saying 5 to 10 years, that this could transfer, that these LLMs will become so, their abilities will become so beyond the abilities of humans, and that it will decrease the price of everything will be abundant, um and which is kind of mind-blowing. So what is the purpose of being on the cutting edge? What is the purpose of putting this LLM on your computer, Andy? What is the purpose of people listening to this space? um
Okay, here's why. Pretty simple. Uh, every single thing I type into whatever LLM it is, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Grok, whatever, the company that runs that LLM gets to use that data. When you sign up for that service, basically they say, anything you give me, I can use to train my model. So if you're sending them, this is my budget, and here's the blah blah blah, or here's the actual recording of my minutes of my meeting, turn it into minutes. They get both. They get to keep both of them, right? And they can use them any way they want. If you don't want your stuff shared with anybody anytime, you need to build a computer and have a local LLM so you can do all those same functions, but it never ever leaves your environment. That's the bottom line.
well, yeah. And it you can, with, with my background with SEO and stuff, you can, I don't know if manipulate is the right word, but you can give them information which will benefit an entity, a business, what have you. Uh, I've seen actually myself that by putting in a large amount of data about something, that it starts to show differently on an LLM search or an LLM query on the subject. because we have a lot of businesses that are regional or local, that there's not a huge search volume about. And so if you do throw a lot of data about that into an LLM, it can alter it. And that's one benefit of doing this at this time now. And I think there's quite a few. And also, I think we're preparing our minds in the in a way to take advantage of this change the best by being here in the forefront. Whereas I did this statistical review about percentage of people that create, worldwide, and this percentage of people that consume. Because one thing that this is going to do is you're going to be able to create all kinds of wild things very quickly. But the majority of people are just, consumers. And so I think by understanding how these work and mastering these things a little bit, that you can contribute to that pool. Shall we get to some more news?
Yeah, well, we just had one person raise their hand. So if you are listening and haven't raised your hand and you want to contribute to the conversation, please do. Otherwise, you just end up with John and I sharing opinions, which is fine. If, maybe you're on your lunch hour and you're just eating and you're just, you don't want to be entertained, John and I will, poke fun at each other. So we're fine with that. But yeah, let's just keep going. Give me, hit us with the next one. I mean, I think there was 4 or 5 really kind of interesting things today.
Yes, and Raru and Harsh and TVD and Dev, Jonathan, please raise a hand, grab the mic if you have anything to contribute. It's great. So let's go to the next one. Wayfair boasts generative AI use, cuts 340 tech jobs. NBC News. Online furniture retailer Wayfair announced an expanded reliance on generative AI to streamline operations, resulting in the elimination of 304 tech positions. This reflects a growing trend among businesses adopting AI service to reduce labor costs. Well, it's just starting to happen, huh?
Yeah, but most I think, okay, so Wayfair has a big catalog and they sell stuff. Okay. So they have inbound calls and outbound calls. Sannon's already shown us inbound and outbound calling. Ross has given us what does he call it? Glyphy?
Correct.
His
Correct.
his
Cliff, yeah.
his yeah, his little AI voice interface tool. Well, he could change it to any accent, any type of kind of perspective, any type of attitude, personality, I guess a better way to put it. What why would you hire 100 people to sit in the call center when you could just get 100 iterations of Gliffy to do the same job?
And do it better probably in a lot of
Well,
ways.
they're not going to call in. They're not going to call in sick. They won't take a break. They never, ever, ever go to lunch. They never, ever, ever stop. They will answer every single call exactly the same way with the same perky attitude or whatever. Uh, the consistency is amazing. And I don't know if you've known this. I've actually built and been in charge of and managed and built the technology for call centers and phone systems multiple places around the world. And call center routing is a big technical challenge. And these tools solve about 80% of those technical challenges. You don't have phone trees anymore. If you do, it's just a transfer process, and you can have the same agent answer the phone every single time. Hi, thanks for calling Wayfair. How can I help you? And then they go, I'm looking for my order. Oh, just a minute. Click forward. It doesn't say, hi, listen, our menu options have changed. Press 1 if you want to find out about new something. Press 2 if you have a question about your order. Press 3 about your bill. They can just go, how can we help you? Hey, I have a question about my bill. Okay, hold on just a moment. I'll get you to the right department. Click, boom, send. Just like having a real operator. And that and the removal of the IVR, which is a integrated voice response, which is the buttons, press 1 for this, press 2 for that, press 3 for this.
I mean,
Those things I think are dead.
yeah, that's the most annoying thing in the world. Everyone can't stand it. And yeah, to have a nice AI bot where you don't have to go press blah, 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 blah. And they're going to have the access to all the data and it's going to be correct. So, like, I mean, I used to call GoDaddy and I'd speak to a service person who's never worked on a website before in their life. But now they'll be able to have all the access to word, whatever, and really
Yeah,
probably do an amazing job.
and so
Jonathan has his hand up, but continue, Ant.
yeah, yeah, or Nathan. Let's go to Nathan. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I apologize. Nathan, how are you
Hey,
doing?
I'm doing great. I'm just enjoying my lunch here, but I love this conversation about the voice agents. Um, One of the things that really kind of blew my mind, I saw a post by the CEO of Vercel a while back, and he said that he had been actually responding to help request tickets, just like any agent would for like the last day or 2 days. And he said that ever since they've implemented a lot of AI bots to help people with the basic issues, all the issues have become super complicated and super interesting. And it's so interesting for me to see a world where like a CEO of a massive company could be the one who's responding to your help desk ticket, because like that's where the jobs are. It's the hard stuff, the interesting stuff.
Can you explain that a little bit more and in terms of defining specifically what the hard stuff is? And
Yeah, so for a tech company like Vercel, I'm sure that they probably get a lot of questions every day about like, what's how do I log into my account? I lost access to this. Why is my bill this? Things that are really easy to answer for an AI agent. But then maybe there's some technical issue that like someone is actually encountering a bug. Maybe they're using some database provider that they haven't thought about some type of interaction with Vercel's serverless functions. And so that's actually really hard to do. And it might actually mean that there has to be engineering effort put behind it. And it used to like, those would never happen. Like you would never actually get in touch with someone unless you spent weeks, like in email trees, setting up meetings. But, if you're talking to the CEO, he could be like, next engineering meeting, have any of you guys heard about this? Like, what if we actually go and solve this? And all of a sudden, like, you can cut through so many layers. It's really cool.
Andy, so couldn't a CEO or something now kind of see what is going on in terms of that direct connection to the customer and then kind of decide
Yeah.
what it needs real attention now where that was impossible before?
Let's okay. So, um, let's say you have a dental practice. You're going to set up it's just an appointment system. You're going to say, hey, come back in 3 weeks and let me check on whatever work I did. Cool. They set up an appointment. Then what happens? You get a call, you get an email, you get a text. Reminder, tomorrow is your appointment. Hey, and you get an email. Hey, remember, tomorrow's your appointment. Click here if you want to cancel or change or whatever, right? Well, what happens if at the last minute they go, oh man, what was that number? Where do I call? They call the phone number and they could just say, if it's an agent, they could answer with something like, hey, I know I'm supposed to be there in 5 minutes, but I'm not going to make it. Can I push that for 30 minutes? Okay. The agent is going to respond like this. Let me check and see what I can do. Boom. Oh, yes, we've got an availability in 30 minutes. I'll just push your appointment for 30 minutes. Or, oh, I'm sorry, we're full. We'll have to come back tomorrow. Whatever it is, the agent doesn't go, oh, this is the third time you've missed. Okay, let me check and see if there's something available, right? There's no attitude. It's just, hey, cool. Yeah, okay, you want to do this? Let's go. And listen, I know what I just said sounds stupid. Okay, it does sound stupid, but I know for a fact, I'm not going to share exactly how, but I know for a fact that if you have a receptionist that answers like I just did, oh, okay, well, let me check. Like it's a big deal for them. You lose that customer 80% of the time, either on the next visit or after that. If they go, oh, I know, oh, you're busy. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. How can we help you? Oh, you want to move it for 30 minutes? Just a second, let me check. Okay. Restaurants specifically, right? You can't even call the restaurant and get an answer. You can't call the restaurant and you have to go to a website and click to make an appointment or to make a reservation, it's called a reservation in the restaurant business. It's an appointment for the chiropractor or your tax accountant or whatever. This is a business model that applies to everyone everywhere. And all of those things with bad receptionists or great receptionists and the impact they have on their business, because it's first touch, it's shockingly direct correlation, just literally direct correlation. Okay, so if you're a bad receptionist at a restaurant, because you're busy, it's loud, you can't hear them, you can't do that. How about this? If you just called up and said, you called the restaurant and said, I'd love to be there at 7:00, but you know what? I can't make it today. I'm going to make this order. Can I come by at 6:30 and pick it up?
Well, what's interesting, I had this exact conversation with the dentist recently.
Yeah, yes.
And
we should talk to about 1,000 dentists and tell them what's going on.
And they were very much like, I can't allow my customers to be in the hands of something I can't control. And so, but it's so funny when you hear Elon saying, oh, in 5 to 10 years, 90% of the car traffic is going to be robots and there will be no cost for anything and the whole world is going to change radically overnight. It's the way
it's kind of true.
This is moving so fast that, yeah, those people like the dentist that I was talking about, it's going to be no, and then why is
no. Can you get it to me by Friday? Yeah, I need it now.
Nate,
that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and but it's going to be a little jarring for folks like us that are, well, I got to turn myself into a robot. So,
but here's the crazy part. Okay,
and then go to Nathan. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Here are the things that people rejected in the past. Hockey players rejected wearing helmets because they thought it would make them not manly. Football players rejected wearing helmets because of the same reason. People wouldn't get answering machines because they thought if it was important enough, somebody would call back. On and on and on and on and on. All of these technological advancements were all pushed back on by everyone until it became more effective to do it than to not do it. And when most of your friends are doing it, you'll do it, even if you're in the business, right? If you're in a business community and 5 of your buddies go, I just installed this new auto receptionist thingy, where I'm just using that as an example. I just installed this new auto receptionist thing, and boy, my customers love it. And that guy's going to answer whoever calls him next and says, I've got this auto receptionist thing. I set up your buddy Dave. I want to do it for your company. He's like, yeah, cool. Come on in. Let's go. Done. That's the way it works. It's pushback, pushback, pushback. Okay, I want it now. Cell phones. Cell phones were in the car because doctors needed them. Then we all had beepers. Then we all got cell phones, but all they could do was answer phones and call, and they didn't even have a good contact list. Then we got contact lists and texting. And then we got contact lists and texting. And then we got screens. And we got screens with buttons. And then we ended up with big screens. And now we all have the same thing. We have a screen that we can play a game on, do email, surf the web, and talk to X people around the world on the same device. It's just the way it's going to go. They're going to push back until they buy it. And by the time they buy it, it's going to be more expensive than they bought it the first time. It's just the way life is. That's just the way it is.
This is the community to be at. Nathan, what would you like to add?
Yeah, I mean, this is 100% where it is. I mean, for me, I have a lot of experience with these kind of phone trees and things like that. I have a chronic health condition, and it's more than just like losing a customer. Like, there can be serious like quality of life impacts for people. I've been on phone trees with insurance companies and waited for 4 hours until someone picked it up. I explained my thing and they just hung up because they didn't want to deal with it. Like, that's awful, but it's literally happened to me multiple times. I've had situations where, you go in to do your regularly scheduled blood work, and there's, not enough staff that are working there, and you feel bad for the people, but you're sitting in line for an hour and a half, and those people are stressed out of their minds. Like, shoot, I would let a robot take my blood if I didn't have to wait an hour and a half every month to do this blood work. But it's improving quality of lives, and it's also improving the quality of lives of people who are like doing this kind of work, because you don't want to be stressed out of your mind. You want to be like, okay, we're getting the patients through, we're going through, like everything's going well. I'm able to kind of make sure that the robots have what they need to do their thing. Like, I feel like that's the future we're moving toward, and it's super exciting. And like, for me at least, it couldn't get here fast enough.
Yeah, yeah. This weekend I'm been doing research for an app um, that that is helpful in many ways, and I was looking at marketing it to executive assistants because it can do multiple things for that. And yeah, the idea that you can create something that will enhance people to a 30, 20, 40% increase in productivity, ease of life, less stress, yeah, will really make improve the quality of life for everybody around them. I think that that a lot of people are missing that factor that you just said, Nathan, in terms of, yeah, I mean, easily it can say, yeah, show up at this time and you're not going to wait 2 hours. Oh, our staffing's a little low right now. I mean, these things could be solved pretty easily, I believe, once everything's in place, where there could be a nice stream of flows for your experience for most anything will be improved. Am I off the mark, Andy or Nathan or uh, Rosemary? Let me know.
Hey everybody, happy Monday. Super excited to be here. Love the conversation. I just wanted to chime in because I recently tuned into the Amazon conference for AI that was a few days ago, and they were really honing in on, of course, their tools, right? Because it was all of their representatives. However, what you all have pointed out is something that's very key. Yes, all new technological advances get pushback. That is historically, like, I believe it was Andy that was breaking it down to the simplest form for us to understand and digest. But I want to add, conversational AI agents are going to help us become more effective in understanding communication, because there's no way to have an effective conversational model without understanding the making of an effective conversation. So I have just realized, first, when we started our prompt engineering journey, we probably were more broad and wanting to just kind of work the scope of a prompt more so than the speci- specifying the, like, details to the thin line. But when we're talking about building actual agents, we're going to get to see just how abundant we've been living, in a sense, because you're going to be able to break down the luxuries of the things that each person does within a specific role. And you're going to look and look at your business infrastructure, because I'm pretty sure 95% of the people here are entrepreneurs, business owners, and then some of you all are just professionals, but some of you are hybrid. But I know that I'm talking to a lot of founders and experienced people. So with that being said, you get to reverse engineer in a way you've never been able to before, because you're going to be forced, indirectly forced, right? It's going to feel like that, to break down every single aspect of what a dialogue, an effective dialogue, would look like. So the skill sets that I see for creatives is storytelling. I feel like this is going to open doors for people who are gifted in the creative arts to actually shine, because they have the infrastructure on how to really get in character, embody character, create characters, because agents in its essence are characters. You're creating the perfect robotic style conversation to respond in replace of a human interaction. And you are depending on the success of that. And then, as I close, thank y'all for letting me speak. I watched the AI engineering conference, AI4 conference recently. That conference had some amazing speakers. All of the videos on YouTube, so you can go. But one of the key takeaways was talking about, because the whole conference is based on agents and building agents, and they said that 90% is the maximum of efficiency of an AI agent. So that means businesses are taking a 10% risk off the gate on depending on any AI agent. That's just to say those ambitious owners that want to invest so they can go cut overhead or whatever their respective budgets are. With that being said, that's not a good look. So again, it leaves a whole gap, right, for opportunities to fill in that last 10%. And I land my plane there.
Can you tell us a little, Rosemary, a little bit about your background, what brought you here, and then also, yeah, I would if you could post that speech or give me the name of it so I can look it up on YouTube. I once posted on the Purple Pill. But what's your background? And I've seen your work here on X, and it's really on point. You seem to be very focused on what you're doing, and I just it's always nice to have everybody else in the room get to know each other. And so I think this is an important thing that we provide.
Yes, John, I am just an AI enthusiast. I've been in marketing for all of my career, and I'm just about learning all I can learn, participating in cultivating communities so that we all can produce more, live better, and have more abundance. That's just me in the nutshell. I really appreciate your spaces. I've tuned in several times. I think they are impactful. I love the work that you do, and I land my plane there.
Excellent. And just one last question. So you've been doing digital marketing for a number of years, or or what aspect of marketing?
All aspects of marketing, sir. I have my whole background and degree in marketing and management, so I've done offline as well as online. So I don't just specify to digital.
Excellent. Thank you. And I see that Shannon's here, Jim, Dev, RB, AJ. Oh, Uzi's here, the man of the memes. This you fake some crazy stuff, which is awesome. And Rabru, and please, everybody, if you've got the ability to grab the mic and share your thoughts on the subjects here, because I know we all have an opinion about AI and how it's working. And I'm sure everybody on X has at least gone to Grok and put in a prompt. And yeah, prompt engineering, I now have made an AI agent that is specifically to create prompts. And I've gone down the rabbit hole, and I've gotten, because of this space, I've gotten some very smart people that have kind of given me, pointed the direction in terms of creating repeatable high level prompts. And, I think that, and Sana talked about this and someone else about, putting the two agents together or multiple agents together, and some of them are just to refine the output and refine the prompt that's being put out there. So it's a big factor of the whole equation. Andy, any thoughts on that? And what do we do to get some people talking in this room? I don't know.
You can tell me to shut up when I talk too much. That helps. And
I'm
you can
not gonna
ask
say
other
I'm
people
not gonna say shut up.
questions.
I'll talk over you a little bit, but if people appreciate you, Andy. You have a knowledge and an understanding of things that is separate than mine. And people really appreciate you talking. I do have a hammer, and I slam myself in the head with it sometimes, but not too often. But I will interrupt a little bit more here and there.
Well, you know what? We've got like 13 minutes left. Let's hit the next one or hit the next news
Okay,
item. If we
next
have no
news
hands,
item.
just
Perfect. Okay,
hit me up, and
perfect.
I'll say something crazy
Okay.
and someone will tell me that
All
I'm
right.
stupid
Yeah,
and
we
figure
just
it out.
have a little bit of fun here. So Fidelity launches Treasury GPT AI tool for financial automation. Let me just say something. Chat GDP, I just can't stand. Okay. when I put them in and compare them to anything else, it constantly has this stupid like, oh, that might be culturally inappropriate or whatever. Or you need to look at, I mean, it's just like it's a waste of time and space. I want an answer, and I don't, and I'd rather be blunt. And you know what? Everything, if you look at it to a certain degree, is inappropriate. I'm inappropriate, and I wish that and I'm happy that I'm inappropriate. I don't belong in a lot of
Welcome,
rooms.
welcome to the I don't want guardrails. Let me find out, and I'll decide if it's good or bad.
As
There you go. Now you're on the team.
as what Marlon Brando said, let me throw a cat, or can I throw a cat around the room for a little bit? You know, just have a little fun here. So let's go back to Chat GDP. Fidelity National Information Services introduced Treasury GPT, an AI tool designed to automate financial processes. This development underscores the rise of AI business services in the financial sector, targeting efficiency and cost reduction. Any thoughts? And I see some more
Yeah,
people have grabbed the mic. Excellent.
Fidelity is a financial services company that helps you with various types of management of your money. All right. Okay. So if you go to any of the free models, I don't care if it's Perplexity or Gemini or Claude or OpenAI, ChatGPT, whatever, and you put in something like, if I have $50,000, what should I put in the stock market for the next 5 days to make 2%, 1%, 8%, whatever? Okay. The LLMs are smart enough to figure out what they can predict. Whether they're right or not is a different story, but they won't give you an answer. Let me ask you a question. Seriously, everybody. Wait, hold on. Wait, here's my question.
They won't give you an
Here's
answer.
my question. Don't you think that Fidelity, Chase, Bank of America, Schwab, whatever, you don't think any of these houses, they don't already have a back-end model that is doing their predictive load and trades right now? You don't think they already have one of those? Here's the crazy thing. They're getting data faster than we can. And they're getting data. Their computer models are analyzing it. They're doing fractional trades up and down based on a 0 point some number variance in either volume or price or cost or value, whatever it is. They're already doing that. They're doing it at such a speed we as humans cannot comprehend to get the results, look at and answer. They're already doing it. So for Fidelity to go, here you go, here's this new cool thing to manage your retirement account.
If anybody's been following Jim Simons or know Jim Simons, Renaissance has been doing that for a long time. And
well, there's a whole giant model that everybody subscribes to, all the big banks, all of the trading houses, they all subscribe to this big model, and I forget what it's called, but I'm sure somebody knows, but they're already doing that. That's where they get their data feeds. Their data feeds are already filtered by the trades that have already happened, and it's in milliseconds. It's not in, oh, I trade now, 3 seconds later, I get a process. By then, their systems have done 10 trades. Seriously, we are so far behind as humans. And for Fidelity to come out with this new AI, yeah, okay, great. So they're going to predict some EFT is going to go, or ETF is going to go up 7% over the next 60 days. You should put blah, blah, blah percentage. Come on, seriously. Why can't we just go, can I just put money into your fund, you plug it in and you get the whole thing, but not with all the fees, not with all the commissions, not with everything else? Can't I just participate as part of the liquid fund that you're using to do all these trades with? Can't I just participate with that? Yes, no, okay, whatever.
You got
sorry.
You got to pay the piper. That's how it works.
Yeah, but, well, I understand the fees. Okay, I understand the fees. Right, that's what the whole blockchain is about.
You got to pay it. You got to pay it until you don't. Until you have your own trained agent that you trust that can go out and do these things, which is probably going to happen sooner than later.
Well, anyway, yeah. So, okay, sorry, I stepped off I stepped outside the circle and kind of, I have worked for banks. I have done lots of moving money from the banking side tranches to the investment side, moving stuff from the investment side into balance out the liquidity in the banking side. I've done real-time connectivity between banks in multiple locations in different countries that had to do, balance transfer every single day and do the whole liquid transfer thing at the end of the day. I've done all that. I've been there. I've built those systems. I've managed those projects. I understand it. It's crazy, crazy.
From what you speak. Yes, it's awesome to have your knowledge and experience here in the room. Nathan, what would you like to add?
Yeah, I mean, some of this super high frequency trading stuff is super interesting. And it's also interesting to watch how it's changed in the world of AI. So when I was going to college, like the big things that people were talking about is like big quant funds would come in and buy like the building physically closest to the stock exchange and then install fiber optic cables so that you could have like, one teeny bit of a second faster trades than everyone else. But one of the interesting cases I've heard for AI agents is you get the 10K reports or like the financial reports from customers and you analyze it faster than everyone else. And so I think that's kind of the new world of high-speed analysis that we're looking at. And that's some interesting AI agent things that are happening right now.
That reminds me of the movie Trading. What was it? Eddie Murphy with Trading Places, when they got that information before the rest of the
Kung Fu grip.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. I didn't even think about that. But that's yeah, you get information a millisecond before everyone else. Task, how are you doing? And Andy, do you want to add anything to that?
No, we have 5 minutes left. I really like to hear Shannon before I have to drop off because he knows way more about all this. I've done the technical side of things. He does the business side of things. He knows more than anybody else
when it comes to running those agents and a lot of other things. Yeah, Shannon, if you'd like to add, please do. Task, you got your hand up. What's going on? Is that the correct pronunciation? Okay, he dropped off. Shannon, how are you doing?
Hey, John, Andy, Nathan, everybody. Cool. A little bit weird Monday. AI agent, the best analyst ever. I'd say even today. Imagine how we interpret information we read in the newspaper and stuff. So most of us read what already happened, right? But if we are in the industry and we are observing particular market and we want to see what's the next, we read differently. What this information of today, which is late, means to us for tomorrow and in coming days. Now, adding this environment to agent with access to multiple sources and having strict rules of funneling the information, like exactly what you want, gives huge advantage. Another great thing, and this is something we will mention this partially on a space Zoo is organizing. AI, I think, is the best value creation for private equity. Like many people think it's just buying, it's real estate and stuff. But private equity in post-merger is heavily focused on structuring and restructuring operations. So agents are going to play a crucial role there and adding the value. And something I mentioned to you guys, how I'm creating value for our M&A with an agents and stuff for the company. I still think I think we discussed this earlier. The orchestration of agents is going to be still challenging. But with what we have right now, I think there is enough to make next big thing. Yeah, I'll say that we have already enough to create next big thing. Thanks, everyone. Good to be here.
Yes, Anna, I agree with you that the frequency of trading, the speed of trading, the ability to absorb large data and come to definitive conclusions based on real-time access, that LLM is, yeah, really amazing in that capacity, but uh, it far exceeds our human abilities to do things. The speed of it, it can handle wider sets of data. It can go to a specific focal point faster than we can, and it can decide things in a much more rapid pace and then change it before we even get to the point where we're comprehending what the large data set is. So I it does more, it does faster, and it can decide and change and pivot at much more rapid pace than we can. And it'll just eat our if it's us against the machine eats our lunch every day.
Absolutely. I mean, it, it, there's no, and we can see that now. I mean, just to extrapolate what's going to happen in 5 to 10 years, I mean, my father's 90 something, whatever. He's still got all his marbles together and still doing work. And yeah, I mean, we're all going to live to see the most wild stuff happen in our lifetime. It's really exciting, and everybody should follow Zoo and Shannon. Zoo and Shannon are going to be doing March 30th, the debt and equity finance. The privilege of hearing the two of them talk about this subject is the value in it. I can't even express. And I really highly recommend anybody has any interest in that to go to that on March 30th on Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. I don't know where it is, but please follow Zoo and San and check that out because it's going to be really fascinating. Santa, I see you got your hand up.
Oh, I didn't pull it up. Maybe it's some glitch. But today I literally brainstormed myself with some things around, let's say, the funding, the capital raising, improving the elements. I think I came up with something completely new in how funding can be delivered, uh, made, how optimization can go in which direction. Um, it's insane this layer. I was working today with LLM in terms of the operations and impact on overall, let's say, markets that are familiar to me. Um, and I believe the progression is going to happen, but also after seeing some super weird, super cool stuff today versus what I'm doing and I'm seeing people are doing, I think we are still playing with Legos instead of building something, to be honest. But let this settle down a little bit. Maybe tomorrow I'll share more. Like it was like really super cool day for me.
Very exciting. That sounds very interesting. Andy, you have to leave. You said a hard stop at 1 o'clock.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And the live stream will keep
I
going until we're done. Thanks.
I want to share one thing.
Uh, Task is how do you pronounce your name? To Ash.
Taksh, Taksh.
X. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? So
Very good. What would you like to talk about?
I want to talk about the AI agents and recently I built a system. I built a bot system which used these AI agents. So AI agents tend to produce unique posts around the product, and it gets automatically inserted in the uh, database, and we tend to send it to different platforms, and it was really good. AI agents are really good. Like you can build anything you want. So suppose you want to build a AI agent for marketing. Now what you have to do is you provide enough context about your product and what you do, and you just tell them more and more, and then tell him to search and create a unique post for you, which can attract users. And you just create the bot system, and you just post it on everywhere, and you start getting users from different platforms. And now the thing is here, these AI agents are really good. If you tell them do this thing, they will do. Uh, but it's all about fine tuning them, making your solution perfect as possible. They are not 100% perfect, but they work really well.
So I see that you do a lot of develop work.
Yeah.
Do you have do you have agents running locally on your own computer, or how are
No,
how
no.
are you going with
I
it?
worked for a startup. They asked me for, uh, and I built a system for them, and they have two AI agents running, and they are like getting a unique post generated from the AI agents, and their bot system is a bit struggling because of captchas, but they are able to automate their marketing.
And what exactly is your function there?
My function is to handle a bit of a tech in my free time for them because they can pay a lot of developers. I work for them for free, and I learn by building for them.
Excellent. And is there any specific LLM model that you find helpful in terms of coding, or which have you been playing with a lot of them, or is there any specific ones that you like to work with?
Um,
I,
um,
I like Claude 3.7 the
yeah,
most for coding right
Cloud is good. But it also about costing. Like if you choose Llama is cheaper, and there's a there like right now I'm thinking about the models that have a reasoning capability. So if a model can like has a can reason why this thing happening in this way, why this is doing in this way, and then you get extra functionality. So LLMs can be good. So I like Claude, but also like in terms of uh, like being cheap, like I like Llama.
are you doing are you working with voice agents, or what
No, no
tasks are they
text.
doing?
No text.
Excellent. Well, and have you tried Mangus? Magnus, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not trying Magna. So let me search.
What kind? Excellent. And what kind of computers are you doing this with locally? Do you like what's the
Can you,
RAM that you're using, and
can you repeat?
what type of what is the specs of the computers that you're using?
Uh,
Like, do
Basically,
you have
it's
a
yeah, so they are fully based on the serverless AWS Lambda, and they use service provider, and they are like low budget system.
got it. Um, if there's anybody else out here who would like to grab the mic, please let me know. I've actually got a meeting at 2. I don't know if I'm going to be doing much on the after show today unless we've got a lot of attention. And Sanan, I really am interested in hearing where you're going with this. I have a question. Are you able to confirm that what it's telling you is accurate and true? And how do you go about doing that?
Oh, so yes, it's 100% true. Uh, so a little bit background. I love Gemini the most since it was barred because of its hallucinations and inaccuracies. So it always pushes me more wider to go and like go strict and everything. So each time I'm brainstorming myself with Gemini, to be honest. So this morning, I tested a couple of the financial models and financial engineering aspect of optimizing the let's say imaginary firms, and I try to see a different scopes of where this particular firm will belong to in terms of investing, in terms of, funding, in terms of growing, in terms of the exit possibility and everything. So on the other side, I did have a separate spreadsheet, which was like completely my stuff. And I was shocked on each asset, sort of say it gave 2 to 3 more options than I was predicting or seeing. So for example, in terms of VC, usually people will go, I don't know, I have a next great thing and I need funding. But what, let's say, a new thing can be is that building can go more toward entrepreneurship, more local. For example, in London, fintech is huge. So if you are based in London, you will go after the fintech communities and fintech everything, the networking and so on and so on. So what does this give you as a leverage is to build out with the people around you. This is something I did with two softwares, actually one software and one service in a dentistry, where the investors in my business were dentists. And then we built it. They were like first to go and it exploded. Now, the way that I identified for me to get rid of these early investors is to do employee stocks. Now, through the employee stocks, you want to decrease the salary and give the share, or keep the salary and remove some benefit and then give the share, but the share with the option of the annual payouts. The value that this increases in overvaluation goes for the first model 11%, and for the third model I've built or engineered in financial terms went to 23%, which is beating me like 9% on average for what I came up with just by giving these ideas. I hope this makes sense. I'm still like under all of these things. It's it just gives like super wider spectrum of possibilities for investor, for a founder, for a fund itself, for everything.
So that's like a 12% increase above what you thought was possible.
Exactly. And I tested it in a separate spreadsheet, which I was running manually. Absolutely doable. Absolutely doable.
It's the I you, going into first principles and noise and signal this weekend, and then extrapolating that into compound interest on productivity. um it can have a significant jump, and 12% increase over time. Now, would that be would that be annually can't compounded? I mean, uh is it, I mean, if that's the case, that's crazy.
So I was not doing compounding. I was just trying to find a strategy to turn NPV valuation into the DCF. So, for example, when somebody comes to acquire you, or when you want to acquire, you want to downgrade the value. So you strictly go after the net present value. But they are projecting for themselves, the buyer, or if you are a buyer, the discounted cash flow. And that's something I was trying to turn with 11%. It's absolutely doable. It's absolutely doable.
I'm sorry, I kind of went off on that a little bit in terms of extrapolating that into what you were talking about. But
Sorry.
about evaluation of a company, it's not going to compound over time. It's going to be what it is. But if you can find more there, then that's really an exciting thing.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I think in terms it can go toward the compounding, but I didn't like test it. I was like so hyped, to be honest, around this. So this is like super, super interesting. Super interesting. Like for example, if let's say the thing that people don't understand, let's say founders or people that are looking for raising money, and that's something I spoke last year with one guy here, Evil Plan. Liana knows him, Zoo knows him. I told him literally go to private equity, and he was like, I'm a startup, I need to go to VC. No, 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 because private equity is becoming the private banking, so private loans. These are way much more personalized and customized loans to your business than VC can do, than anyone can do, except if you have that amount of the money. So considering all of this stuff, and that for PEs, let's say in general, operations are key. With this type of the analysis, you can strip operations like in no time. And that's where the NPV, what you are evaluating your business at the moment, immediately runs into the DCF, where you can really negotiate a better deal, better exit. That's the whole point of what I was doing today. And
Just
this
for
is
the
super hard to achieve. Sorry.
just for the room, in terms of, because there's all different types of people here, and I started after talking to you and getting to know you to understand private equity a bit more. It pretty much anybody who's starting a business should understand this. Be, for my understanding, when you start anything, you should want to know or have a plan or an understanding of the exit of it before you even start, because you're going to have a better outcome. And a lot of people don't even understand that their exit plans, I'm going to give it to my kid, or I'm going to, who knows what. Can you just for a minute just kind of share why private equity is something that people should understand at any level of business?
Oh yeah, it can. So for example, today I confirmed um, theory that I was skeptic, but I also did it because I believe in it. Um, and you can guys Google this. Like this is publicly available knowledge or research. The trend among PE in general. So I'm not talking about big guys, KKR in this, like micro PEs that are running like 40, 50 mils. Marketing agencies are super interesting. So I did acquire two through the different funds, only for the sake of distressing the cash flow. So let's say there is, you throw in money, you get less money, but money is circulating in this type of the companies, and that's something that keeps you in a safe ground, or you can use it as a hedge for, I don't know, loan, or even plug it in as an extension for exit of another company. In general, I'd say like alternative assets are super interesting element. Not only like PE, under alternative, everything goes in: hedge funds, family offices, VCs, PE, um, family wealth, everything. The cool thing about, in general, about what founders needs to know, and the biggest finding today, and something I did, is that AI can insanely, I don't have percentages, but insanely it can boost overall business. Either it is, I don't know, SaaS, or it is something else. And now what you mentioned, what you asked to explain and describe, um, I'm sorry that Jonathan is not here. He was like a lot in my head today. He knows everything about Google. He already has the product. So he can either become the acquisition for the Google, or his product can be part or acquisition for the Google, or he can build a bridge that will frictionless integrate third parties or other people or companies with what Google offers. That's something that can be the exit vision. That's something that can be the goal in building. So what is that he's building? He's good in this networking and stuff. He's building on a backend engineering and, let's say, ops. It can become platform, let's say, type of the Zapier. On the other hand, let's say, okay, so the SEO and stuff and everything can be integral part of building the network or building the micro market. So micro market can be, okay, I have a solution. I'm going to partner with the agencies, and agencies are going to use this solution because it makes sense. But not in the way, let's say, like you are going to use Ahrefs and this other SEO stuff, but in a way that every agency, every partner is going to contribute to platform development, which means you're going to have the data that you can pull out, analyze, create reports, build out additional revenue streams, and so on. How this can exit? This can exit literally like entire micro market. So whoever buys you also buys the licenses that you are offering to every single agency. This is literally building the cash, building the revenue for your next company, and you're exiting this one. Something we are doing, and many other similar cases. But there's so many open options I've seen today. Like, I don't want to go into the monologue and everything. I think that AI and blockchain must go together. That's my conclusion of today. Especially if we talk about finances, like something I discovered today, and I did this with Quantix, Liana, and Zuno. Blockchain can be like, damn, like insane exit liquidity model. Like really insane. Exit is like big hurdle, big problem in all outs. If you offer an option to people to exit in a different directions, then you will not end up with the much of the dry powder. But dry powder is general politics. It's like cash that stays in the funds and it's not distributed, not applied. So yeah, I'm sorry for this long answer, but I hope it helps.
Just one question with the blockchain. So by connecting uh asset, a company, what have you, with blockchain in terms of an exit, it would eliminate all fees, costs to a certain degree, and then you could distribute it how you want. Is that why it's so powerful?
Not only that, I think fees must stay because managers are really committing a lot of work. When I was like fully engaged with the PE and my mentors and everything, like I was working 15 to 16 hours a day on average. And somebody who to get all of the stuff I do for free, like no way, like no way. Uh, this is what I did with Quantex. So you have an NFT, and then you have a real estate in the US. Now, through the multifamily real estate model, what you can do is to attach NFT, or it doesn't have to be NFT strictly. I'm just using this as an example. This is like what we did. And the moment you attach it to the house, it immediately by law becomes security. Now, this security can be fractionalized. The fractionalization of this house means that everybody in this room can be an owner of it. Now, the liquidity that happens on a physical side of the fund, or let's say syndication, is that when we go out, let's say 5-10 years, we cash out investors. Of course, we want to negotiate for them to stay with us and place in some money and everything. But the large portion enables through the NFT attachment to this house for people to exit. So the distribution of liquidity can be in two directions. Now, the beauty about this case is that all of the taxes, all of the responsibilities goes toward GPs and LPs. Now, is it 80-20, 30-70, how it's distributed? Depends on the deal structure itself, but everything is clean and completely in compliance with the SEC and with the IRS and everything that goes along. Now imagine AI being an analyst enabling this type of technology like a blockchain to surpass the current limitations we have in liquidity pools. Damn, like there is no limit. There is no limit for everyone to make money and to become a VC or PE or whatever kind of thing in alts.
Yeah, I just looked up, and the first time that real estate was attached to tokenized to an NFT was 2021 to a property in Kiev. Do you have you seen that take place? Or have you worked with those before? Because I thought that there was some problems to it that haven't been totally flushed out, but it looks like it's just problems with regulators or governments trying to figure this stuff out.
Oh yes, Netherlands is full of this type of the funds. We did this in a test mode with the Quantix. The problem with this is the environment of blockchain itself and all of this NFT bullshit and stuff. Sorry on the language, where people are scared. It's a sort of the scam or anything. But if you work closely with your investor lists, you should educate them anyways. Like if you go through the SEC, through the rules, you have accredited, not accredited investor, and then if you work with a non-accredited investor, you have to educate them in a 6 months. Then you build out all of this social media, podcast, blah blah blah, to shorten this time in 3 months, and then you can start playing with their money. So this engagement and relationship time should be used to explain to them the benefit of exit, because everyone looks for the exit. And I think it's doable. Like I know for sure Hong Kong is doing it. Um, I think Cyprus or some in South America country is also doing this. And in Germany, I have a friend in Frankfurt who started doing this on a global scale, and they are performing insanely good. Like Denmark is also big on this. I've met two guys who are sort of multifamily European type of that thing, and they're really doing good stuff. So I have to be honest, they're not big multi-billion or hundreds of millions funds, but since they're working with their existing clientele, they're really performing like superior, to be honest.
Yeah, I just asked Grok if there's a standard coding for this, and it wrote some code for me and said that the standardized coding practice for NFTs to real estate models are built, but there's no specific universally adopted NFT real estate standard yet existing, but developers standards and custom metadata logic for suite real estate needs as seen in projects, or they're seen in projects like Property and Block Square. But yeah, I guess it's it doesn't look like rocket science right now on how to put these things together, just looking at the code on it.
Absolutely. And I just use this as an example. Like 2 years ago, people were talking about blockchain and blah and everything. Very few of them were looking into Industry 4.0, which is supply chain industry. So imagine blockchain and Industry 4.0, AI, everything being considered by the private equity, which is strictly focused on operations. Like, damn, like it's insane. It's insane what capabilities it gives.
When you and Zoo do the Zoo's space, is this one of the topics you're going to go into, or just if you want to give a teaser to the room?
No. This is completely off what we are going to talk. I'm talking about what I was doing today with the Gemini and building these financial engineering models. What Zoo and I are going to talk is strictly basics and openings on the perspective how the debt and equity works.
Perfect, perfect, excellent. Well, yes, I mean, I'm um i- very interested in looking at how to leverage any effort that I put into in anything. And I think that's with AI, that's it. As Zeus said, 0 times 0 is 0. But if you have some skills, you are doing something in this world where people are willing to pay money for it. You now with all of these various new things that are going to come through, and the idea that Elon, when Elon was talking today about the value or the cost of these things going down to near zero in terms of LLMs, and then what you can build with them, and yeah, electricity is not going to cost nothing, but also capacities is, I would imagine, for the RAM or what have you. If you're going to do it locally, that's going to make something. But the, what's going to come out of it is going to be limited to your skills, your creativity, your knowledge, and your skills. And um and and then we might have this world where so much is done that the folks of us at this time and this age might become an anomaly if the world is I mean, Shannon, extrapolate, just like, because you've done a lot. And what happens when everything can be done for you without going through the the trenches of, the kind of combat of trying to succeed, but you can tell an LLM, "Hey, create this right now." Because I'm seeing right now where you're having situations where somebody creates an app, and then I can get Grok to do exactly what that is in 2 minutes without even having to bother with it. I think that's going to be the a big problem moving forward, in the sense that not everybody's going to have the wherewithal to try to figure these problems out and do it themselves, but the access is going to be right there at our fingertips, like what you're working on today. You didn't have to go out anywhere, but at with your own mind and your creativity to get these problems, then you can start to implement them. What does that do? What does that do to society? And like, where are we in that kind of a world where that happens like that on a daily basis?
I think everything stays same. So I mean, my policy is focus on one thing and move it as fast as possible. The philosophy behind this is something you wrote today, and I wanted to write this, and I completely forgot. I was too deep into this stuff. So when I'm focused on something to move fast, I'm trying to do it as fast as possible, as I can. By being fast in delivering and achieving these small goals, or small, removing small hurdles, I'm staying focused. So people that are lazy, people that are not willing to develop the skills, people that are not willing to move further, they'll just be left behind. Same situation what we have here right now. And if you want to keep the pace, you will have to move fast, and that's the thing. Um, another another possibility that I see is that we are creature of habits. I don't work less. I'm just adding 2 hours to my usual 15, 16 hours. That's all. Like I'm not becoming like super efficient, super productive. All my work, daily work, I can do like in 2 hours. But because of these 2 hours, the extra space in time that is created for me, I'm using to learn new stuff. I'm using to like move something else. And since we are creature of habits, nothing is going to change. Everything will become super faster. So that's what I see with all of this happening. And this is cool. This is exciting.
Yeah, no, I've you know, making sure that I exercise and I have some fun every day, but I'm fully excited about what I can create, and building the relationships here on X with people is expanding my abilities to do all kinds of things. We're bidding on a big thing locally here on a huge project, and I'm able to start to do AI agents that can, automate my workflow and all these other things. And so, yeah, it doesn't. I'm not going to be the consumer. And my uh, everybody in my family worked in some capacity till they couldn't work anymore just because they enjoyed it. And it's fun. It's I don't understand. I knew somebody who retired and he passed away, in his 50s pretty quick afterwards. But it's I think that to stay engaged is to be alive, and I think that this is that it's going to be a lot of interesting things and possibilities, and being creative and being in the middle of it. You can see what's actually possible, where if you're not synced into this 110% and kind of obsessed, you're going to yeah, just miss the boat. You can't be half measured in this.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I also think so. Here is another thing I found interesting today. For the first time, I didn't have, as usual, my morning readings. I was in deep research in Gemini. I was not looking to. I think I only twice I got into the this X app. Okay, I needed this information. It gave it to me. How about this? It gave it to me. Okay, I'm thinking today to eat. I don't know, more green than meat and stuff. Okay, here are some options. Give me the restaurants that are nearby that I can order. What's the best case? I don't know, to build this. How I'm going to do that. I was not like I was not blasted with so much information. Like when I'm reading New York Times, I'm reading four rubrics, and all of a sudden I'm seeing all other weird stuff. Economist. I usually read three, four articles. That's it. But I need to go through entire this crap they serve straight in front of your eyes. I don't need to have that. Everything was like, okay, I want to do this, and that. Tell me about it. Show me. Help me out to work. Brainstorm me, and so on and so on. Like ultimate focus. It was insane. I thought entire day passed out. I started somewhere around 9. I think it was before 9, and I finished everything by noon. Maybe 20 minutes till noon, and I felt like the entire day passed through. So I think this is really, really like VR limitation. Something we discussed earlier. Data science is not about how good you are in coding, how good you are in, I don't know, crunching and clustering and building out models with the data. It's about how good you are asking the right questions to the data sets and everything that can come out from whatever you plugged in. And I think we are in this situation. I'm not talking about prompting. I'm more talking about ultra efficiency to really brainstorm and everything. Like what I did today, it was like really, really my first type of experience, to be honest. That's I'm a little bit fuzzy and all of that shit. But yeah, I think it's going to be like huge advantage for everyone, even people that are not in a not fans of the tech.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the interview I saw watched today with Elon Musk and Ted Cruz. And Ted Cruz was like, "How did you know that all you needed was the passwords to the computers?" He's like, all of us in Congress would have said, "Here, get me this report and that report and get me this report." And Elon was like, "Well, you would ask that guy to get the report and he would speak to this contractor and this contractor. And eventually somebody had a password and logged on a computer to get the information." And, Elon knew intuitively the quickest way to get the answer to figure out the problem. How much is being spent and is it being spent wisely? Pretty much, pretty simple question. And yeah, so what you're saying, son, in terms of breaking things down and asking the right questions and looking at a problem, I think that that these you have a PhD level assistant right next to you at all times, and the limitations are your own mind and your own creativity. And I think that for people to read books, get away from, I can't stand social media. I mean, I like X because I'm learning people and I like networking and stuff, but it is a bottomless pit of time. And this idea that I'm going to post and post and post and it's going to be some revelation or something's going to happen out of it is kind of garbage, really, I think. In the end, the true value and wealth is relationships and building networks in terms and with real communication. This is the posting is, I guess, a nice way for people to hear your thoughts and stuff. I'm not the greatest writer. I'm dyslexic. My stuff's kind of all over the place. I do admire people who really write well, but these conversations, I think you get a lot more information, and then go back to the LLM, throw yourself down the well of what can I do and how can I do it better. But the one thing I love about old books and stuff is you find gems about things that are so relevant today, written I don't know how long ago. And it is going to be a different perspective than what you get here on the internet. So I highly recommend people read as much as they can, and that will be. There's nothing new under the sun. Socrates and Aristotle has wrestled with all this stuff before. They understand it well, better than most people, because there was a lot less noise and garbage on the planet back then. Imagine how you know you wake up in your village, you walk downtown. The only noise you're going to get is people talking, and if you don't want to listen to them, you walk away. And I think that is the challenge of the day, is the challenge of our time, is figuring. Mr. Wonderful, whatever his name is from Shark Tank, he always was talking about noise and signals. Elon's 100% signal. I kind of was like, I kind of hear that a bit, but I think that that is really important. And when I have been able to change my behavior, my thinking, and myself, the first thing I always had to do, and I shared this with Zoo, is to identify. And so I think it's going to be important for everyone to identify what is noise and what is signal. In other words, what is a waste of time and what moves the needle for your life? Like, I'm a painter and I'm a musician. So I went down with the LLM about defining noise and signal. And it said, well, painting and music, it does, because music's numbers, and I write songs, and I get a positive element of my day out of it. Walking, I get a positive element out of my day. The spending time on X trying to do X, Y, and Z. Blah, nah, not happening. Here it's happening in this space. And I do have to, I've got stuff to do, and sitting here in the after hours, like, at what point does the needle go, okay, John, now you're just talking. I'm branding myself a little bit right now. So I'm branding myself. So this is good. But it's it's an interesting type wire, and uh that we're walking on, where we have these tools that are doing great things, but then they can also work against us if we are not disciplined to be able to identify, see, and name what we are involved in and what is in front of us, and then determine, is this adding or is this subtracting? And I think that's probably where really going to need to take a little bit of mental clarity to define this. So, being that that is what that may be, or whatever I'm going to say, my words get a little funny. I think that I'm going to be closing up. Shannon, do you have any last words? And I got to get into my signal mode, and this is I don't know what this is, but you want to have some last words, and then we'll leave.
Hey, just want to thank you and Andy and everybody being here, listening. Fantastic space as always, and yeah, thank you for holding this and committing your time to all of us. Great
Thank
stuff. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
thank you, Sanan. A little housekeeping, please. You can go to my account. I do now have a newsletter, and the newsletter is I'm going to put out certain things, but it's mainly to build a community. I believe that the communities here are relationships have the best, have the value, the greatest value, and so please go become part of my newsletter, become part of my community. I feel that through the mentorship and help of people that I've gotten to know here on X, that I'm able to bring a value that's consistent and that is strong. So join my newsletter. If you're getting any value today, you can support me by going over if you'll see support through Zelle, you can click on there. You can buy me lunch or a cup of coffee, whatever you want to do. And we've got a lot of stuff coming up in the future, and then we have a lot going on behind the scenes, and we'll tell you about that. Please, if you want to be more of the of the community and get into the inner circle, what have you, get up here and speak and let us know you. Let us know your background, what you're doing. If you're a developer, if you're a business owner, if you're what level are you involved in AI? And can there be a commonality? I've gone on the back end and spoken to quite a few people who are very interesting and very sharp, and we have put together some projects, and we're talked about other stuff. So it's important that if you're really diving into this and you have some high level skills or some really good knowledge, do yourself a favor and speak up and let everybody in the room get to know you. So that's my speech, and I will be logging off. And thank you, everyone, Liana and Harsh and TVD and Alex and Design and Sanan and Zoo and Jim and Dev and Ant and Louvre. So thank you so much, and we will talk to you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.